And Corbin Burnes has been traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Jake, what are we repping right here? You got to turn around. There we go. Corbin Burnes. You're gonna have to get some orange and
Yeah,
black paint, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I never understood that when people say like you got to get rid of a jersey just because it's not valid anymore. It's still, he still was a Cy
it's
Young.
still valid.
Yeah, he still was a Cy Young for the Brewers. But anyways, just
Yeah,
some details about the trade, then we'll get in the discussion. The Brewers traded Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles in exchange to highlight. The Baltimore Orioles gave Joey Ortiz, who is an infielder. He was ranked 63 on the top 100 MLB prospects, so a pretty good return there. And a left-handed pitcher, DL Hall, plus a 2024 draft pick. I believe it's like the one that's like right after round one. So it'll probably be like a pick 33 or 34 or something like that.
yeah.
So a pretty good draft pick along with that too. The Orioles, I think they're really pushing. Obviously, last season was awesome to get 100 wins. Very disappointing finish. They got swept by Texas. Texas goes on to win it all, so you can take some silence on that, I guess. I think with Baltimore especially, though, there was nothing like the bullpen was lights out last year. You had Felix Bautista. You had a couple ring throwers in there in the Baltimore Orioles bullpen. But the lineup, if you look at the lineup, it was good. It wasn't spectacular. If you look at the starting pitching staff, I would even argue that was mid at best, which is why they got Corbin Burnes, who now highlights it. Kyle Bradish had a pretty good year last year for Baltimore starting wise. He had like a high two ERA, and then also Kyle Gibson, who 8 innings, but he had like a 4.5 ERA or something. So this is going to be much improved for the Orioles, especially once they make that postseason start, you're going to want to put Corbin Burnes in game one, try to get some momentum. And as for the lineup, I think you still got a solid core. You got Santander, you're gonna who had a pretty good year last year, Anthony Santander. You got Adley Rutschman, Ryan O'Hearn, who was like a minor league pickup last year, hit like 290 for Baltimore. That was pretty good. And then of course Gunnar Henderson and Mountcastle. They have a solid core. It's not a great core. So I think at the trade deadline, especially, the Orioles might be looking to add maybe one more bat if they're contending like they were last year. But just a great move for Baltimore to solidify that staff, and they're looking like legit contenders once again. Jake, what's your take on the Orioles side of it for this trade?
Yeah, great move for the Orioles. I mean, getting Corbin Burnes, a former NL Cy Young winner, heading over to the AL, he's going to boost to that rotation. Um, you mentioned Kyle Bradish. He had a good season. Kyle Gibson, he had a good season. 1, 2, 3 right there for Baltimore. Now let's talk about the Brewers side of things. Who they're getting back. DL Hall, he's a very good prospect for the Orioles. I think he made a few stars up at AAA Norfolk last year. Um, he's gonna start in AAA for the Brewers, but I don't think it'll be long before you see him in the major leagues.
I just think this is the reason the Brewers had to trade Corbin Burnes, because you might be a Brewer fan. I know Brewers fans who are like this, that they're tired of trading away their talent. They traded away. Who was the closer? The Josh Hader. When they traded him away to the Padres, that was not popular in 2022. And then, they've done this in the past. They're kind of tied down by Yelich, right? Because Yelich is on that ginormous contract. Is Yelich good? Yes. Should he be hitting more than like 15 home runs and 79 RBIs? Based on what he gets it paid. Also, yes. I mean, yes, I know he's been drawing a lot of walks, but you got to be the star player, and he has not lived up to being the star player since his injury. After the crazy 2018 and 2019 seasons. He just hasn't lived up to it. He's not bad anymore, but he hasn't lived up to it. And with the Brewers, also you got William Contreras, in the lineup. They just signed Rhys Hoskins. That's a pretty good signing. I know he didn't have the greatest year with Philadelphia last year, but he's going to put up 30, 35 home runs. So you have a lineup and you had the pitching too, and then you trade away Corbin Burnes. So I don't know. The Brewers are just doing a little bit of a dance. Like they've been doing this dance for at least 5 years, which is why in our bold takes video we did this week, by the way, go check that out. I predicted that the Cubs are going to pull ahead this year because the Brewers have been doing this dance for too long. They haven't done anything in the playoffs. And now I think they're going to pay for it. I think the prospects are exciting. Don't get me wrong. I agree with Jake on that. If I'm a Brewers fan, though, I'm not particularly happy with this deal. especially considering I heard they wanted to trade with the Yankees, and the Yankees had a top prospect, and the Yankees like, yeah, that's too much for Corbin Burns. So if I'm a Brewers fan, it's not the end of the world. It's not my favorite deal either, though.